So many times during this story, I said, wow, that's cool. Come see what I mean on this episode of Antique Bottle Stories. Robert Augustus Chesebrough. I always want to pronounce it Chesebrough when I see his name. Anyways, he was born in 1837 in London, England. His parents were Americans. They had just been abroad when he was born, and they came back to New York when he was a toddler. He became a chemist, and when he was about 27, he married Margaret, and they had 5 kids. One of them died as a baby. Chesebrough began his career clarifying kerosene from the oil of sperm whales. Now this intrigued me, so if you don't mind a minute, I want to go down this rabbit trail, find out how this actually happens. So, whale oil is obtained by boiling the blubber of whales. Blubber is the fat under the skin surrounding the whales and dolphins' bodies, and in some cases can be up to 50% of the body's mass. It's lighter viscosity than water, so they naturally float. It also helps regulate their temperature. Inuit people used to eat the blubber because it's high-energy food source and it provides many nutrients. They say whale blubber tastes like arrowroot biscuits. Other uses for whale blubber is candles, soaps, cosmetics, and lamp oil. A single blue whale can harvest up to 50 tons of whale blubber. So now we know he was involved in that. Somewhere around 1860, he's about 23, he learned about the discovery of petroleum in Titusville, Pennsylvania, which ended up being an oil rush, much like the gold rush like 10 years earlier. So he went over there to go see what he could find out. Well, he learned that there was a residue called rod wax that needed to be removed periodically from the oil rig pumps because it clogged the wellhead. Some of the oil workers used it to heal cuts and burns. I'm wondering how they thought to do that. About 1865, Chesebrough took some of the samples back to his lab in Brooklyn. He was able to figure out how to extract the petroleum jelly, and Vaseline was born. The word Vaseline is derived from the German word Wasser for water, and oleon, which is Greek for oil. So Chesebrough tried it on himself, and he was very pleased with the product. He opened his first factory in 1870. Well, most people were not interested. He promoted Vaseline as a curative and a soothing agent, but he kept getting turned away. He traveled around New York demonstrating his miracle product. In front of an audience, he would burn his skin with acid or an open flame and then spread the Vaseline on his injuries while showing that his past injuries are healed by this miracle product. It doesn't actually heal cuts and burns. The jelly just forms a layer, keeping the dirt from getting in and trapping the moisture in. One of the leading causes of death and disease in his day were due to open wounds being infected. He gave out free samples. He made sure to get them in the hands of housewives and pharmacists. It's estimated that over 500,000 samples were distributed by 1873. In 1873, an agreement was reached with Colgate and Company for it to distribute Vaseline nationwide in the United States. This arrangement continued until Chesebrough merged with Pond's in 1955. In 1875, he founded the Chesebrough Manufacturing Company with its offices at 110 Front Street, New York. Now, it's either numbered differently or the building isn't standing anymore, because here's 104, and the next building that we come to is 126, a little bit down the way. So 110 would be under this bridge. By this time, Americans were buying Vaseline at the rate of 1 jar a minute. In this 1875 ad in the paper, it's acknowledged to be the best base for ointments and has been awarded a medal by the American Institute. It's best for skin diseases, burns, wounds, etc., and internally it purifies the blood and cures coughs and colds. Gross. Chesebrough was also involved in property investments, which involved redeveloping the Battery Park area in New York. Here's his office in Battery Park, and here. And this is what it looks like today. Allegedly, Queen Victoria was a huge fan of this product and used it daily. In 1883, Chesebrough was knighted by Queen Victoria for his scientific accomplishment. In 1881, Chesebrough became a subsidiary of the Standard Oil Company, owned by John Rockefeller. For Chesebrough, an alliance with Standard Oil gave him a reliable source of supply and enhanced protection from competing products that appeared on the market. They remained part of the firm until the Supreme Court broke them up in 1911. During that period, the Vaseline Company moved from Brooklyn to Perth Amboy, New Jersey. Now here's an 1885 ad in the paper stating that Vaseline can be used to preserve eggs, and it goes on to tell you how. This article in the 1886 issue of Manufacturer and Builder says French bakers are making large use of Vaseline in cake and other pastry. Its advantage over lard or butter lies in the fact that, however stale the pastry may be, it will not become rancid. It continued to say that the Council of Hygiene disapproves this practice, saying petroleum contains no nutriment, but it doesn't say, however, that it is injurious to health. In 1909, at age 72, Robert Chesebrough retired and was succeeded by his nephew Oswald de Normandy Cayman, who had been vice president. Cayman was therefore the head of the company when Standard Oil was broken up and Chesebrough had become an independent company. By 1910, Chesebrough had a branch in Montreal, Canada, and in London. By 1915, women started mixing Vaseline with lampblack to create mascara. Miss Mabel Williams used this for her eyelashes and eyebrows. Her brother Tom decided to market this product and used the name Mabel for his sister, and since it used Vaseline, he called it Maybelline. So Maybelline started out just as a mascara, and we all know what an empire that became. Robert Chesebrough lived to be 96 years old, and he attributed his long, healthy life to his consumption of 1 spoonful of Vaseline every day. He died in 1933. His obituary had some pretty interesting stories. One of them says that his favorite story to tell was how he captured a Confederate soldier before the first Battle of Bull Run, the first prisoner to be taken by the Union Army. It says Chesebrough knew Lincoln well and occasionally visited him at the White House. That's just cool. The company merged with Pond's Extract Company in 1955. Forming Chesebrough Ponds Incorporated. The Ponds Company was strengthened by the merger. By the mid-1950s, Chesebrough had 25 products for sale in nearly 120 countries. Most of the products were petroleum jelly-based toiletries. Some other items were Filtrine, which is a sewing machine oil, veterinary Vaseline, and a bunch of items which could be used around the house or farm. During World War II, Chesebrough was awarded a contract to produce a sterile gauze dressing impregnated with Vaseline for battlefield or hospital use. In 1944, a new facility was built at the McKees Rocks plant to make and package it. Sales helped the company have its best ever domestic sales figures in 1944. In 1969, the Chesebrough Company purchased Ragu Packing Company, which was a small spaghetti sauce company in Rochester, New York. This was a widely criticized move, since the company was not familiar with the food business. But 3 years after the purchase, Ragu went from making $150,000 in 1953 to being the top-selling spaghetti sauce in the country in 1969 and making over $22 million. There were a few other acquisitions over the years, and they saw great success in almost everything that they touched. Chesebrough was purchased by Unilever in 1987. Vaseline was sold in square cans first. Sources say that about 1887 is when they began bottling it, but I found a newspaper article from 1880, and here it is in bottles. I see this style of bottle from about 1880 to about 1905-ish. The threaded top started about this time, about 1905, and there were a few styles of these. This style lasted from about 1905 to about the 1940s. Now, my amber one dates from about the mid-40s to about the mid-50s. A clear, straight-sided jar dates from about the 60s. And then the plastic jars came on the scene. And that's it for today, guys. I collected so much information and pictures for this one, and I just don't have time for all of them. I'm going to leave you with this commercial from 1961, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Got a date, Bill? Sure, don't you, Rag Mop? No.
Hey, you use water on your hair, too. How come your hair looks so good?
I use Vaseline hair tonic with the water. Water evaporates and dries hair out. Alcohol and cream tonics evaporate, too. Won't Vaseline hair tonic evaporate? Nope. With Vaseline hair tonic, you can use all the water you want. It replaces oil that water removes.
Here's proof. This solar furnace concentrates natural sunlight. Watch what concentrated sunlight does to these hair tonics. This dish contains alcohol tonic. Look what happens to alcohol. This dish contains hair cream. Look what happens to cream tonic. But clear and clean Vaseline hair tonic hasn't evaporated away. In the bottle and on your hair, the difference is clearly there.
In the bottle and on your hair, the difference is clearly there. It's clear, it's clean, it's Vaseline.